Now, it makes sense that normal, educated people think Trump is a pockmark on humanity. That's why Trump hates smart people.
I love the poorly educated.
But when business leaders begin to see the light, and that light being that Trump is a cognitive landfill, they start to worry. Today, Tiny Fingers is whining about a CNBC report on his meeting with CEOs that has gone viral. Trump had returned to Capitol Hill last week, where he met with suck-up Republicans, most of whom had not seen him since the January 6th attack in 2021.
All of my internal polling shows that if I'm a convicted felon, I have no chance of winning.
And definitely for the first time since becoming a convicted felon.
I'm a truly desperate man.
A lot of eye-opening quotes were reported out of that meeting, including one person who was there who said meeting with Trump was like talking to your drunk uncle at the family reunion. This is significant, and it's not. People like former Exxon CEO Rex Tillerson were seduced, thinking they could control Trump. But that's like a dog chasing its tail. Trump is insane, and now big business is getting a close-up look. And do they like what they see?
I will say I was surprised. I spoke to a number of CEOs who I would say walked into the meeting being Trump supporter-ish or thinking that they might be leaning that direction, who said that he was remarkably meandering, could not keep a straight thought, was all over the map, and that they, which may be not surprising, but was interesting to me because these were people who I think might have been actually predisposed to him and actually walked out of the room less predisposed to him, actually predisposed to thinking this is not necessarily, as one person said, this may not be any different or better than a Biden thought if you're thinking that way.
Of course, Trump punched back, like he always does, going on the safe turf of the ironically named True Social. It ain't true, and it's far from social. And of course, he whines like a little bitch.
The attendee who spoke with the Daily Signal said Sorkin's interpretation is wrong. There was never a moment of meandering, the attendee said. Trump was focused. In fact, he received a loud standing ovation at the end. The attendee added there was not one CEO who wasn't impressed with what they heard from Trump. Everybody was clapping.
Clapping? A loud ovation? Not quite. It was more like this. Now Trump is taking aim at those very business leaders, amping it up, saying they should be fired if they don't support him. Back on True Social, he said this.
Business executives and shareholder representatives should be 100% behind Donald Trump. Anybody that's not should be fired for incompetence.
Okay, now I understand spineless little ticks like Cruz and Marco kneeling down before Donnie diapers. But Fortune 500 companies? But maybe I'm overestimating them. Because while it seems pretty clear that Republicans, with a few exceptions, are ready to again turn over the keys to a mentally ill psychopath, would that really be good for business? I'm definitely not a shrink, but Trump has always been psychotic. He's always done horrible things to anyone within reach, like when he stole money from a charity he started for kids with cancer. I mean, that's just pure evil, right? But now, like the reporter said, he's in another world.
You know, they were so worried. Everybody was so worried yesterday about you, and they never mentioned me. I'm up here sweating like a dog. Secret Service said, we have to make sure everyone's safe. I said, what about me? We never thought of that. They don't think about me. I'm working my ass off. I'm working hard.
And these pasty old white people think they can get something out of him, like lower taxes or votes based on hatred for minorities and LGBT. But that's not Trump's priority, and he will only do for you if it helps him. And he has no idea what to do, except stay out of jail. He's like a dog trapped in a phone booth, angry and confused and attacking anything that moves.
So Jeb Bush ultimately was right, Alex. He is the chaos candidate. It was a chaos presidency. And I would just remind these people that they weren't happy when he was president. Yes, they got their tax cuts, but we've also ballooned the deficit. And that is going to come home to roost for these CEOs in a number of different areas, including the mix of inflation and the general malaise that a presidency like Trump would cause. Remember, I say inflation because he wants to deport 15 million people from the country, and he also wants to jack up tariffs by 20%, or in some cases higher than that. And so this is make inflation great again sort of strategy.
Dude is right. Everything Trump is promising to business is horrible for America. Lowering taxes for corporations doesn't help anyone but the corporations. Why? You think these companies, once they're allowed to keep trillions, are going to hand it back to you and me by lowering prices or hiring people they don't need? Companies don't hire people because they got a tax break. They give the money to CEOs and bonuses and stockholders who contribute nada to the economy. Trump lowered the tax rate for corporations 7 years ago from 35% to 21%, and that cost our economy somewhere near $4 trillion. Money for infrastructure, scientific research, and of course, helping poor Americans with loans or opportunity zones. It wasn't there. You think rich CEOs give a shit about opportunity zones?
I think I'm going to attribute what I'm about to ask to something I heard you say. But if these CEOs are all about the bottom line, they're all about money, right? That's their business. That's what they're doing. You have suggested that the foundation of democracy that might be shaky under a Trump presidency, that doesn't do anything to help the business community.
Yeah, I did say that, and I'll take it one step further. It's the rule of law. You know, you've got people like Steve Bannon and Project 2025 talking about a post-constitutional America and talking about Trump as their Red Caesar. And so when things like that happen in a society, you get a breakdown of the rule of law. And I would just remind these business leaders, what's made America so fantastic as a capitalist country is the predictability of our laws. And so just imagine somebody like Donald Trump with those whims, his promises to go after his people that dislike him, his adversaries. I just think it would be an unmitigated disaster. I would take a disagreement with policy with President Biden over the systemic integrity of the United States and also in the keeping of the traditions of our constitutional republic and democracy.
Mooch is right. Wall Street hates unpredictability, and I'm guessing most people do as well. Unleashing Trump Bannon style.
All hell is going to break loose. It's not going to happen like you think it's going to happen.
Well, that means our economy will suffer, and that will cause a worldwide depression.
One of his plans is, he talked to Time Magazine, is to round up the 11 to 15 million illegals and then go through them and find out who belongs here and who doesn't.
And let me say this, no one's going to deport 11 million people, but they will go after a few million, and most of those workers are agricultural based. Who should they be replaced by union workers and white people used to higher wages? Well, you think inflation is bad now? It'll be like the 70s again. And if you're too young to remember 1978, our car loan was 18%.
Some of these people were inclined to support him because they're thinking about their pocketbooks more than they're thinking about abortion rights, more than they're thinking about welfare for the country, more than they're thinking about democracy, which is not a surprise. But even they were disturbed by the Trump that they just met.
And so he's jumping out of his seat right now.
The problem that I have with that, I mean, Andrew's reporting is so good, but the fact that they are telling him this, not coming out and saying it, coming out on camera and saying, like, you know what, we just saw the former president, and we have a lot of concerns, actually. The fact that they're saying it quietly, they're making these moves behind closed doors, not being out front with it, I think that is as cowardly as the Republicans in Congress who are willing to stand next to him in order to win, like make sure that they're on his good side should he win.
Trump is a puppet, but here's the crazy part of that analogy. The strings aren't attached to anything. Trump is more like that piece of trash the wind is blowing down the street and the Republican Party and corporate America are chasing it in the hope that it's a dollar bill. It's shameful and depressing, but at least there's always religion.
Smash the delusion, Father, of Joe Biden as our president. He is not.
The Lord says it is done. The Lord says it is done.
It's going to be a long summer.
Damn right.
This isn't their Republican Party anymore.
Am I wrong?
You're in a lot of trouble, Donnie.
I'm Chip Franklin.